Welcome to Vyapar, a show where we explore the journeys of entrepreneurs and the businesses that they've built. I'm your host Sid, and joining me today is Puneet and Jatin, co-founders of CureSee, a company which has developed a software to treat a visionary condition, an eye condition called amblyopia, which is for a normal layman person like me. Let's not go in the technical term. It basically means lazy eye. So we'll understand what that means and how it's different from other eye conditions in a bit. But when I was first speaking with Puneet, I understood that almost 3 to 5% of the global population suffers from amblyopia, and it is a very costly treatment, especially if a person in India has this condition. They're not normally treated by doctors. So what happens is that because it's so costly, people, they're not treated properly, the facilities are not there, and I also feel that awareness is not there. So we actually don't know what this condition is, what's amblyopia. No one has an idea, right? So this is exactly what CureSee is doing. They are raising awareness when it comes to this condition. They also have developed an amazing software which can treat patients within 6 months, and the most important part is that it's light on your wallet, so it costs substantially less than the other treatments that you go out for. So kudos to you guys, and welcome to the show, Puneet and Jatin. I'm really excited to have you guys.
Hi, Siddharth. Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction about us and CureSee. We are delighted to be on your show. We have listened to many of your podcasts and we are a fan of actually Vyapar podcast. So thank you so much for inviting us here.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Really appreciate your compliment. And before we start with the show, I just want to know about your background, and Jatin as well. How did you guys meet, and what's your respective backgrounds?
Yeah, so coming up to how CureSee started, how we guys met, and how we are doing this part actually. So it all began when I was in internship. I am an optometrist by profession. An optometrist is somebody who looks after your eyes and is the primary eye care provider. So being an optometrist, I had to complete my internship part, and during that period, I was sitting in an OPD, the OPD of a normal eye care hospital, where I observed that there was a patient. When the patient was being examined, it was my professor who was checking him, and then he told him that your condition is such that your vision cannot be improved further. आपकी नज़र को हम और नहीं बढ़ा सकते क्योंकि और कुछ ऐसा अभी सोल्यूशन हमारे पास नहीं है, कोई ऐसा इलाज नहीं है कि आपकी नज़र को बढ़ा पाएं. आप चाहें तो एक आंख को ढककर दूसरी आंख से प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं, बट उससे ज़्यादा कुछ उम्मीदें नहीं हैं. When I heard this, I was very much disappointed कि यार इतनी एडवांस्ड है, हमारे पास हर चीज़ के लिए इधर ऐप है या फिर इवन ब्रेन ट्रांसप्लांट, हार्ट ट्रांसप्लांट, जब हम ऐसी ऐसी चीज़ें सुन रहे हैं और उसके बाद कोई कहता है कि यार इस कंडीशन का तो इलाज ही नहीं है. इवन कोविड का भी अभी हम इलाज ढूंढ चुके हैं, लेकिन फिर ये आ जाता है कि अगर कुछ तो होना चाहिए ना इसका. सो उस टाइम पर फिर जैसे ही पेशेंट एग्जिट हुए, I came to my professor. I asked what's the condition and why we do not have any solution for his condition. So then he told me it's known as amblyopia, or in normal terms it can be called as lazy eye. So lazy eye is when even after giving the best possible spectacle or the best possible contact lenses in the world, then also the person is not able to see clearly. He or she is getting blurred vision even after being given the best options in either spectacle or contact lens, then it is called amblyopia. In simple terms, I would explain कि आपको कोई भी कितना भी अच्छा चश्मा हो या कितना भी अच्छा कॉन्टेक्ट लेंस हो, अगर उसके बाद भी आपकी नज़र इंप्रूव नहीं हो रही है, तब उसको लेजी आई या एम्ब्लियोपिया कहा जाता है. अब ये होता क्यों है? हाउ वी डायग्नोज इट? द थिंग इज we diagnose it as per the exclusion criteria. We exclude all other diseases कि इसके अंदर ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है, तब भी नजर नहीं बढ़ रही है, then it is amblyopia. अगर आपको कोई अंदर दूसरा कोज ऐसा नहीं दिखता है स्पेसिफिक, एज इन उसको कैटरेक्ट नहीं था, उसको कोई रेटिना में इश्यू नहीं था, कॉर्निया क्लियर था, सब कुछ आपका क्लियर है, still he is not able to see, then it is amblyopia or lazy eye. Basically the thing is both eyes work in coordination with the brain. So let's imagine two eyes in front of you. They are connected via some wires to the brain. The brain is the one handling them. If our eyes work just like a camera, इट सेंड्स द इमेजेस टू ब्रेन, जहां पर वो एज इन, अगर मैं कैमरा की बात करूं तो मैं फिल्म बोलूंगा इमेजेस को, वो फिल्म क्लियर होती थी जाकर आपके ब्रेन में। अगर वो इमेज वहां तक पहुंच ही नहीं रही है, देन वो एम्ब्लायोपिया है। एंड अर्ली स्टेजेस के अंदर क्या होता है कि आपकी दोनों आंखों से जो इमेजेस आएंगी, इन अ नॉर्मल पर्सन दे आर आइदर इक्वली क्लियर्ड और इक्वली ब्लर्ड इन अ नॉर्मल पर्सन। In any amblyopic or lazy eye person, the images of both eyes differ. In case of when somebody is having amblyopia in one eye, it can be in both eyes also. That is a less common condition, but it is possible. So अगर एक आई में एम्ब्लायोपिया है, so उस आई से ब्लर्ड इमेजेस आएंगी, धुंधला उससे दिखेगा चश्मे के बाद भी। और अब ब्रेन का काम होता है उन दोनों को कंबाइन करना। सो नाउ द ब्रेन इज अनेबल टू कंबाइन देम, अनेबल टू फ्यूज देम। सो ब्रेन अब उनको साइड बाय साइड आपको शो करेगा, सो दैट विल रिजल्ट इन डबल विजन।
Oh,
आइदर डबल
wow.
विजन और शेडो ऑफ इमेज। और यही कंडीशन अगर लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन तक रहती है, आप सपोज करो उस टाइम पर वो एक बच्चा था जो बोल नहीं सकता, अगर यही कंडीशन उसकी 2-3 साल तक रही, जब तक वो बोलना सीखे कि मुझे ये इशू है, तब तक क्या होता है, ब्रेन उस ब्लर्ड इमेज को लेना बंद कर देता है, ब्रेन उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है, उसको प्रायोरिटी नहीं देता है। द रीजन बीइंग उसको डबल दिख रहा है, तो ब्रेन सोचता है कि इस ब्लर्ड इमेज को रहने ही देते हैं और बेटर आई पे ही फोकस करते हैं, उसी को प्रेफर करते हैं। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड सप्रेशन। जो आपकी लेजी आई थी उसके जो सिग्नल्स वीक थे, उसको ब्रेन ने लेना बंद कर दिया है। सो दैट इज सप्रेशन, दैट आई इज अंडर सप्रेशन। सो उस केस में क्या होगा, अब हमें लगेगा कि हमें नॉर्मली क्लियर दिख रहा है जब हम दोनों आंखों से देख रहे हैं तब भी। और ये हम तब तक नहीं बता सकते जब तक हम एक आई को कवर करें, अपनी गुड आई को कवर करें, तब तक हमें पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि हमें धुंधला भी दिखता है चश्मे से। या फिर जब तक हम किसी आई टेस्ट के लिए या आई चेकअप के लिए ना जाएं, तब तक हम इसको डायग्नोज नहीं कर सकते। सो what I would recommend all the viewers of this podcast, all the listeners of this podcast, is to please go and get your eyes checked, as this is a common condition what we are talking about. It is present in approximately 3 to 5% worldwide population. So I recommend everybody to just go once and check with your doctor or your optometrist if your eyes are working perfectly fine or not.
I was actually covering my eyes, like when you were telling me, right, कि जब तक you, till the time when you not cover your eyes, you will not get to know. I was actually covering my eyes and seeing that do I have it or not. So listeners, if you're listening to this, man, it's a serious thing, and get yourself checked out if you feel that there's something wrong with your eyes.
तो
Yeah.
एम्ब्लायोपिया के बारे में बेसिक मैंने आपको कुछ बताया अभी। नाउ द प्रोफेसर टोल्ड मी दैट द गाय हैड एम्ब्लियोपिया एंड वी हैड नो ट्रीटमेंट अवेलेबल इन इंडिया फॉर हिम। इवन इफ वी ट्राई फॉर सम ट्रीटमेंट, द ट्रीटमेंट्स आर कॉस्टिंग अ लॉट मोर देन यूजुअल, सो इट्स beyond the budget of any economical family. So that's when I started, yeah, why should we rely on something that is so much expensive? Why not we create something on our own? आज अगर आपको कोई भी एक, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एक स्टेंट पहले कितना महंगा आता था, एक हार्ट के अंदर जो आपका स्टेंट इम्प्लांट होता है, अब उसकी कॉस्ट, क्योंकि वो मेक इन इंडिया है, और देन उसकी कॉस्ट कितनी रिड्यूस हो गई और हर कोई अब उसको अफोर्ड कर सकता है। अब आप देखोगे तो काफी रिडक्शन आया होगा जो डेथ रेट होगी उसमें। सोल रीजन बीइंग इनोवेशन। So that's why I thought, okay, so we need to do something and we can do something in this. Then we did many researches, like what all should be included, what is it that improves the vision, how we can make it actually. Then I contacted one of my school friend Jatin, who I know since last 8 years. So I directly called him. The reason being, he is already involved in software engineering part and the startup industry. So I called him like, dude, I have this idea, I need to do something about it, let's meet up. Then we met in a park, we set some goals, and we came up with software that's made in India and is capable of treating lazy eyes. We have our own researches out. We are now even certified by many organizations, and we have launched our new product recently, a new being updated version of the same, but with many more improvements. And I'm very much proud to say that right now, even every listener should be proud, every Indian should be proud that the only artificial intelligence based vision therapy software worldwide is Indian and made by an Indian.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. But how was the process like? Did you have certain blueprint that this is how we were going to develop it, and these are the kind of vision therapies that we are going to implement? Did you have that blueprint ready with you guys, or like you were constantly iterating that strategy of how we are going to treat patients? So how did the initial stage look like?
Actually, so we researched and found out some phenomenons which should be included to improve the lazy eye. So we got the basic structure ready. Like crowding is a phenomenon. By crowding, I mean that there are a lot of objects and the patient has to search for a specific one. Just for the example, look at your keyboard right now. And then if I tell you that you have to search for the key 6, then you will search in all of these keys and then you will, okay, here is the 6. But right now you remember it just because you use it daily. Otherwise, you have to search for it, and the amount of time a normal person takes to search compared to the amount of time an amblyopic patient takes to search it is very much different. There's a significant gap between them. So this is one of the phenomenon I am just giving out as an example. So we had the phenomenon ready, like we have to include this. These are the phenomenon, but in the way of a software we need to incorporate this digitally so that he is able to do it anywhere in the world. We are the only ones who's available online and offline. Earlier, whoever was available was only online. The sole reason being that there was internet connectivity. But when we talk about India, a lot of population still comes from the rural background. So the internet connectivity is good and fine, but there are many places where the internet has not reached yet. So it was in our mind that if we are developing something, we need to be best at it. So then we came up that we need to develop an online as well as offline version of the same so that our rural patients can also do it. They should not be restricted and आपके पास अगर इंटरनेट नहीं है तो आप कर ही नहीं सकते हैं. आप कहीं से भी हो, आप either online either offline आप उसको access कर ही सकते हैं. आप vision therapy definitely करें.
And okay, so we are talking about vision therapy and online, but I'm still confused as to how your product works. So let's say, for example, I have lazy eye. Okay, I am a person who is suffering from lazy eye, and then I come to CureSee, or I like how does it work? Do I have to come to you, or do you have doctors as your affiliates, or empaneled with the company who treat the patients? And then how does the treatment process work? So tell me a bit about that. Like, how does the process work from the start to the end, and how does the treatment, the process work for a normal
Yeah.
person?
So we have two streamlines. I'll cover both of them. First one being if you are a patient. So if you are a patient and you are diagnosed with amblyopia or lazy eye, then the first thing you can do is either talk to your doctor or your consultant like, okay, I have amblyopia, what can we do now? How to improve my vision? So we are available to a large number of doctors. By creating awareness, we have reached many of them, and some of them are still in our list where we should be going. So we are impaneled and we are available to a lot of hospitals where you can avail the CureSee services. They will provide you the proper account of vision therapy, how you can access the software and everything. That is one streamline via the doctors. You can ask your doctors to provide you CureSee. Coming to the second one, if suppose you have amblyopia and your doctor said, okay, you have amblyopia, but I do not have any treatment to it. There are a lot of doctors who would say this out of lack of awareness or anything. But you should not be restricted due to their lack of awareness. That's why what you can do is you should go to our website curesee.com. There's an option to book an online appointment with us. The appointment would be a tele-counseling with our eye care experts. We have many experts sitting in our office. They will talk to you. They will understand your condition. They will ask for your recent reports, recent eye checkup reports. They will comprehend each and everything and then decide which exercise is better for you and what to recommend to you to start you on vision therapy and then follow you up on a monthly basis. So अगर आप पेशेंट भी हैं आप डायरेक्ट क्योरसी की वेबसाइट पर जाएं, टेली कंसल्टेशन वहां से हमारे बुक करें. बुक करने के बाद एक हमारे ही प्लेटफॉर्म पे आपको एज इन वीडियो कॉल हम उसको कह सकते हैं, जिस पर हम आपको एसेस करते हैं कि क्या आपको एम्ब्लायोपिया है, कितनी स्टेज है, कितने में इम्प्रूव होगा, ये सारी चीजें. एंड देन आप उसके बाद डायरेक्टली हमारे पोर्टल से विजन थेरेपी स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. आपको मंथली फॉलोअप्स लेने होते हैं हमारे साथ, वो भी ऑनलाइन हम कर सकते हैं. सो आप अगर कहीं भी हो दुनिया के किसी भी पार्ट में, आप विजन थेरेपी स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं आज, और उसके लिए आपको बस वेबसाइट पर जाना है, टेली काउंसलिंग बुक करनी है, देन द नेक्स्ट पार्ट इज स्टार्टिंग विजन थेरेपी. And as it is being done by AI, and we are also monitoring all your exercises daily. So daily live आपकी जो भी रिपोर्ट्स होती हैं वो सारी कोई यहाँ पर आई केयर प्रैक्टिशनर बैठकर उनको देख रहा है कि आप उनको अच्छे से कर रहे हैं या कहाँ क्या इशू आ रहा है, so that we can follow you up better and we can provide you better treatment always.
So the treatment is basically just a set of exercises. It's not medicine or any antibiotics that you guys are giving. It's just a series of exercises that you need to do.
Yeah, so
And
no medicines and no surgery or anything such is required. It's not a surgical method, neither a medical method. It's an exercise via the way of computer software. Even exercises are gamified just for your benefit, that you do not get bored while doing it for continuous 6 months, I would say.
like, what's the average duration of the treatment, and like how long does it take for a patient to just completely be rid of this eye condition? So I remember you told me that it takes 6 months, but has there been any cases where a patient was not treated in 6 months, and what was the reason behind it? Like, if you could pinpoint that to us.
Yeah, I would tell you actually a lot of patients are there who would be treated in less than 6 month time period. That is around 3 months or so. The reason being their severity of the condition. If they are less severe, suppose they have a mild amblyopia or moderate amblyopia, they are not much. So they can be treated very easily within a lower time period, let's say 3 months. If they are having a substantial amount, a good amount of amblyopia is there. So this based on severity, the time span increases. If they are severe, then also it can be covered within 6 months. But there would be cases who would require much more amount of therapy. The reason being, each of us is different. Each of our system is different. It reacts differently. So similarly, there would be some exceptions who would require different time span, a longer time duration to cover up the treatment. But in the same way, in the same exception, there are many patients who were severe but are treated within 1 month. So it varies, and the average time duration is 6 months, I would say.
All right, fair enough. And I think that, 6 months is a reasonable amount of time for a disease or a eye condition which was previously not treated. Previously, what was happening was that patients were not treated at all. So I think it is quite reasonable. I also remember that you told me that before you guys built this company, and one of the reasons why you built this company was that it is a very expensive process. So you told me that to treat amblyopia, it costed somewhere a ballpark figure of 9 to 10 lakh rupees. And what you guys have done here is that you've substantially lowered that cost. And I don't know if I'm entitled to release the price that you guys are doing it at. I mean, if you want, you can publicly tell the pricing points that you have, but you
Yeah.
have substantially reduced the price. So my question is, how were you able to do that? And if you could tell us about the pricing plans that CureSee has for the patients and for the doctors as well.
So let's begin with how we were able to do it. The sole reason being, in the earlier, whatever the modalities were there, they had some technical components, or you can say some devices associated. What we did is we did it as a software. If it is a software as a service, then you can access it from anywhere. Just for the sake of example, in today's world, for social networking, you can access Facebook from anywhere in the world. It won't cost you much. In the earlier era, if you wanted to network with people, you would either have to go there by a air ticket or anyhow via the transportation. So that cost is reduced. Similarly, here we have reduced the device cost. No devices, no separate device is required. Only thing that's required is either a computer or a laptop at the end of the user. Patient should be having any laptop or a computer to perform the software exercises. So we do not need to give any additional device to the patient. That's where we save the cost. Second one is we have developed much more faster platforms. In terms of software, Jatin would be better at explaining them, but the newer platforms were much more faster and feasible, so that helped us in reducing the cost. Third and the most important, the pricing we kept, it's based on a subscription model. So you have to subscribe for this much period only. You are not a lifetime user to it. Why should you pay something, some amount which is sounds like a lifetime? So if you are using it for less time, just for the example, if you rent a car, it's obviously less. If you buy a car, it costs you much more. So that's where we reduced our cost and we made it affordable for everybody. Coming to the pricing structure, the 6 months plan, we call it the CureSee Plus plan. It comes from around 14,000 per patient only. So if you are getting your sight back in 14,000 only within 6 months, earlier there was no treatment available for that thing. Won't you be ready to start vision therapy?
That's a no brainer. I mean, that's a no brainer. And like in the world that we live in, just glued to our smartphones and TV, laptop, everything, I think taking care of our eyes is so important. And I mean, if someone had to spend 14,000 to get, one eye or two eyes rid of amblyopia, then I mean, it's very reasonable. And I think any middle class, even lower class person in India can afford that price. So I'm really proud that you guys have achieved it. And I think the potential is great, because are you guys also planning to roll this out internationally, or you already have rolled it out internationally?
Yeah, we have rolled it out internationally. It's right now available. So let's suppose the cost is 14,000, and if I divide it by per day basis, so per day it costs you around 78 rupees only. I bet many of you would be spending much more than this on your daily food expenses or any other lavish expenses, I would say.
And also, it's a monthly subscription thing, right? So if a person gets cured within, let's say, 1 month or 2 months, then that's how much they're going to be charged, or how does it work?
Uh,
Like,
no, the plans are different. There are three plans. First one being the light plan, which starts with 3 months, then plus plan for 6 months, and then the advanced plan for 12 months. So whichever you wish. And secondly, when during the tele counseling, we assess how much sessions would be required for you based on your reports. So
hmm,
that's how we decide how much of the duration would be required in your case, and then we begin on that particular version only.
awesome. Okay, so I want to take a segue here, and I want to get your personal opinion on this. That while you were building this company, and even now when you're running the company on a daily basis, what's the biggest challenge that you face? What's something which you feel that this is one of the biggest hurdle that we need to overcome before we can make this in a very big company, or we can scale this up in a very big way? So is there any particular thing or a challenge that you guys still face while running the company?
Yeah, so coming up to the challenge part, the biggest challenge I would say is awareness.
Oh
By
yeah.
awareness, I mean awareness to both the doctor or optometrist as well as awareness to the patient. If the patient is not aware that there is something called lazy eye or amblyopia, how and why would he go for an eye checkup? There are many patients who won't come for an eye checkup unless they have anything, any anomaly in their eye, or they have anything which results in either pain or blurry vision or something like that. But they should get their annual or regular exams done. Secondly, we need to aware the doctors that yes, there is a treatment available for this condition now. Why? Because when they were being taught, they were told that okay, this is the condition, there was no treatment for this, so they were stuck to that paragraph of the book only. We need to update them that there is a treatment and you can also start this at your practice. So the biggest and the most important challenge for us is awareness, creating awareness to both the eye care practitioner, being combined ophthalmologist as well as optometrist, and the patients. So for the ophthalmologist and optometrist, what we did is we are very much active in conferences, events, and all such gatherings in the eye care industry. Secondly, in the patient segment, we are using many advertising and many social campaigns where we can make the patient learn what amblyopia is. I daily get many calls that we have saw your this and this video, and then that's why we have called you. That is, we are right now not even sure that is this treatment curable or not, and
Hmm.
they come up with many more such queries. Then I answer that yeah, there is a treatment, you should avail it, and then they take up, they see the result, they post the reviews. That's how it works. So I would say the biggest challenge is for me is awareness, and for the software segment and as the entrepreneur journey takes up, I guess Jatin would be very much happy to explain them.
या जब हम इस सॉफ्टवेयर को बना रहे थे तो उस टाइम पे मैं था सेकेंड ईयर में था बीटेक में। तो उस टाइम पे स्टडी के साथ साथ मुझे साथ में काम भी करना पड़ रहा था। तो मतलब काफी काम था, काफी वो था, क्योंकि मेरे साथ कई डेवलपर्स और हायर कर रखे थे मैंने। तो हम काफी काम वगैरह कर रहे थे। तो उस टाइम पे एक तो टाइम ज्यादा चाहिए था और एक अमाउंट, मतलब हमें स्टार्टिंग में बजट, क्योंकि फैमिली से बहुत ज्यादा नहीं मिल पाता। तो उस टाइम पे इसको पूरा करने के लिए तो मैंने अपनी ओर से अपनी फीस, मतलब कॉलेज ड्रॉप आउट कर लिया था और 3 महीने बाद मैंने घर वालों को बताया था। और ड्रॉप आउट करके मुझे टाइम भी मिल गया था और साथ में मुझे फीस वगैरह जो मैंने एक सेम की थी अपनी ओर ले ली थी और घर पे नहीं बताया था उसको, तो यूज वगैरह करके मेरे लिए ये था। बाकी तो फिर दे दे करके करते चले गए। मतलब एकदम स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ा इम्पॉसिबल था, दे दे करके हम करते गए। तो एक स्टेज आई कि जहाँ पे हमें लगा कि हाँ हम पहुंच गए वहां तक जहाँ तक हम इस चीज को थोड़ा पब्लिकली कर सकते हैं। फिर उसके बाद दे करके उसके बाद काफी टेक्निकल चैलेंजेस आए हमारे पास फर्स्ट वाले वर्जन में। फिर हमने एक जितने भी फीडबैक्स वगैरह थे सभी हमने कलेक्ट किए, जिन जिनको हम कर सकते थे, जो पेशेंट के लिए बेनिफिशियल थे, डॉक्टर के लिए बेनिफिशियल थे। हमने वो सारे लिस्ट वगैरह बनाई और फिर हमारा जो न्यू वर्जन अभी लॉन्च हुआ रिसेंटली उसमें हमने काफी चीजें उसमें ऐड की। और साथ में फिर एक डॉक्टर्स का टाइम, जो पेशेंट को हर एक्सरसाइज सेलेक्ट करते थे, हर एक्सरसाइज जो टाइमिंग बताते थे, लेवल्स थे उनमें, तो काफी चीज थी उनके अंदर। तो उसके बाद हमने एआई के साथ हमारे पास काफी पेशेंट का डाटा इकट्ठा हो गया था, मतलब तो हमने एआई यूज करके जिनसे बेस्ट रिजल्ट आ रहा था हमने वो एक्सरसाइजेज ली और उनको कितने टाइम तक करना है ये सब हमने ऑटोमेटिकली एआई से बेटर रिजल्ट जितना उनका आ रहा था पेशेंट का वो वाले सिलेक्ट किए। फिर उसके बाद हमने वो वाली टेस्ट की, मतलब कुछ पेशेंट्स को हॉस्पिटल में, मतलब कुछ टाइप से हमारे जहाँ पे हम पेशेंट्स वगैरह से डील करके और उनको पूरा उनको सेटअप प्रोवाइड करके हम वो टेस्ट किया था हमें। तो उसके बाद टेस्ट करके जहाँ पे बेटर रिजल्ट आए जिन चीजों में, तो वो फिर हमने अपने जो एआई से हमें एक्सरसाइज सिलेक्ट वगैरह हुई थी, टाइमिंग वगैरह, उस पर थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस हुआ। फिर हमने अभी पूरा ऑटोमेटिक कर दिया, अभी ना डॉक्टर डॉक्टर को भी अभी सिलेक्ट नहीं करना पड़ता टाइमिंग वगैरह, डॉक्टर जस्ट पेशेंट की डिटेल्स ऐड करता है। उसके बाद सब कुछ ऑटोमेटिक एआई हैंडल करता है उसके अंदर कि कौन सी एक्सरसाइज देनी है, आज इसको ये वाली एक्सरसाइज देनी है इतने टाइम के लिए इस लेवल पे, वो सब कुछ एआई का पार्ट है अब। और साथ में डॉक्टर का टाइम भी बच गया और पेशेंट को भी बेटर रिजल्ट्स। अभी जो ट्रीटमेंट हमारे जितना इम्प्रूवमेंट हमारा 3 मंथ्स में हो रहा था अभी वो मोस्टली 2 मंथ्स में कवर हो जाता उतना। आई का जो लॉग मार वगैरह वैल्यूज है वो चेंज हो जाती इतनी। तो अभी उससे काफी वो सही है। और बाकी तो भी चैलेंजेस आते रहते हैं तो हम कवर करते रहते हैं।
Nice. So it's been quite a journey, and then you guys have learned a lot from the way things have worked out, and you have constantly iterated. And like you mentioned, you have made your product more efficient. You have included more updates into it, made it a better user experience for the end consumer, and it's great to see the transformation that you guys have brought into your company and in the consumers that you are serving. So I think that's great. And so I need to ask this because I still feel confused as to what is the difference between a lazy eye and a person who, like, I have a relative whose eye is at the extreme left and the eye doesn't move that much. So is that lazy eye, or am I just interpreting it wrong, or is it something else? Like, I don't know.
Okay, so let me confirm this. The thing is that your relative might be having is called squint. As you might have heard, squinting of eye in common terms is actually तिरछापन, जो हमने काफी लोगों में देखा होगा कि एक आंख थोड़ी सी घूमी हुई होती है. So this is called तिरछापन or squint in the scientific terms. So squint can be associated with amblyopia and cannot be. There are both the terms. It can be. There is a segment where squint is combined with amblyopia. There is a segment where squint is not combined with amblyopia. So if you have squint, there are chances that you would be having amblyopia. Better you get your eyes checked. Amblyopia is often associated with squint, but not always. So that's what I can tell you about it.
All right. Lot of, I mean, I'll also have to, because I'm still confused. Like in amblyopia, is my eye straight? Like in a normal person, the eyes are in the middle of the retina is in the middle, right? So in lazy eye also, it's in the middle. Like if I was looking at a person who was amblyopic, all right, would I be able to tell that he is amblyopic in the first instance, or probably he has to get himself checked and then only he'll find out that he is amblyopic?
Yeah, just by looking at first glance, we cannot tell that if he or she has amblyopia or not. Why? Because amblyopia में आपकी आंखें सीधी भी हो सकती हैं और आपकी आंखें टेढ़ी भी हो सकती हैं। वो एक दूसरे फैक्टर के कारण टेढ़ी होती हैं, जिसको स्क्विंट कहते हैं। वो साथ में हो सकता है, लेकिन ज्यादातर आपको स्ट्रेट भी मिलेंगे एम्ब्लायोपिया में। सो आप क्लियरली आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर सकते कि इसको एम्ब्लायोपिया है और इसको एम्ब्लायोपिया नहीं है, अनलेस और अनटिल आप एक आई टेस्ट और आई एग्जाम आप करा लें। सो बेटर है अगर आप आई चेक कराएं किसी भी सर्टिफाइड ऑप्टोमेट्रिस्ट से, then you can be sure that you have amblyopia or not.
And like you were talking about squint, so like apart from lazy eye, apart from amblyopia, are you guys planning to launch any other like services to treat other eye conditions in the future? Like have you thought of something? Because you've disrupted this, I mean this segment, you have really disrupted this. So when you sit on the drawing board and you think yaar ab next kya karna hai humko, like what's the next thing that we want to disrupt? So do you have any product or service which you want to launch in the future, or it's something still in the creative process, it's still not out, but this is something you want to build something in the future? So do you have anything like that at this moment?
So we have launched CureSee in 2019. So since then, we were working on bringing updates to it, making it better. Now we know that we have achieved the product market fit. So we were at the same time, we were working on different streams also within eye care. So within eye care, we are planning to expand CureSee, and there would be many services and products available very soon that are under R&D right now. We spend much more time in R&D usually. If I tell you honestly, I slept at 3:30 last night. The sole reason being we were on a conference call discussing what we can add, how we can create something that's good for the patient, good for the practitioner. We need to be constantly solving problems. It's just like a cricket match. You cannot just hit 1 6 and you can say, okay, I won the match. You need to be constant at it. Only then you can make Sachin Tendulkar.
I like that analogy, right? And yeah, I mean, seeing the recent test match, you have to be a Cheteshwar Pujara, and then you also need to know when you need to be a Rishabh Pant. So, and so do you have any products? Like, can you tell us about that? Like, any examples of what services?
I can give you some little hints about it. We cannot leak the entire data right now, but I can give you hints. So there are patients who do not have their vision, as in they can see very, very less. They are near the blind category. They are known as low vision patients, and we are bringing something for the low vision patients just to make them able to see and make them able to perform their daily chores. Just imagine you cannot see clearly, you cannot walk without seeing, you cannot do anything whichever you can imagine without seeing. So seeing is a great sense which we need to develop. We are planning to bring something for the low vision patients so that they would be able to see the world again with a great and much more clarity. Right now there are products available for them. I'm not saying that there is nothing available. There are products available, but only till specific improvement. And if you want to go to much more better, you need to spend much more lakhs at it. If there is someone who's near the condition of blind, how can you expect him to pay this much lakhs amount for something like this?
Because
He won't be.
I'm just interrupting you here, sorry, but I do feel that eye care as an industry is very expensive. Like even for a cataract or something like that, people have to spend a lot of money, right? So as an industry, I feel that eye care is traditionally been very expensive, and I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I mean, lowering the cost so that every person, every, even not only the upper class guys, but also the middle and the lower middle class guys can afford it. That's a great thing, I think, for the future, and like what you guys are doing. Yeah.
So, to all the listeners, as an entrepreneur, what I would like to tell is don't just go looking for something. You won't find anything like this कि आज मैं ये बना देता हूँ ये स्टार्टअप हो जाएगा, ये बना देता हूँ ये स्टार्टअप हो जाएगा. नहीं, आपको एक विजन चाहिए. To me, success is a combination of vision, ambition, and your ability to take risk. ये एक इक्वेशन है, आपका विजन परफेक्ट हो, आपके अंदर एम्बिशन हो, आप एबल है रिस्क लेने के, क्योंकि सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्टर आई गेस 70% ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज जस्ट रिस्किंग एवरीथिंग. So this equation sums up the success of any startup.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I work in a startup, and the founder told me that, how startups work is that you just have to, you're climbing a mountain, and then you have to jump from the mountain and you have to build a parachute on the way down. That's how it works. So, all the best to you guys. I had an amazing time talking to Puneet and Jatin. Amazing what you guys are doing with CureSee, and I hope that you launch more products in the coming years. All the best, guys. Anything else you would like to add? Anything we missed out? Anything you want to highlight about the company?
Right now, as we are focused on eye care, but our future, as we see, our vision is to expand CureSee and to reach each and every emblyopic patient so that at least they know that they have a treatment for their condition. I would say that there are 307 million emblyopic patients in this world right now. What we need to do is to reach out to each one of them and let them know that there is a treatment for you. You are not somebody who is neglected due to some paragraph in a book. You should know that there is a treatment available for you. That's our vision for the future, for the coming years in CureSee. Beyond that, we are planning to expand our services and products portfolio. Very soon, we'll launch many other things.
I'll constantly be in touch for that. And you've also raised a lot of awareness. I missed this out, but I remember you told me that you have, like, before, I think 80% of the doctors were not aware about this, how to treat amblyopia. But now that number is significantly low, at least in India, because of what you guys have done. So that's also, I think, really good. Yeah, I mean, thank you again for coming on the show. I had an amazing time talking to you guys, and we'll stay in touch, definitely.
Yeah, sure. Even we had an amazing time talking to you. It feels like home. And secondly, a huge thanks to you from the side of the patient, as many of them would be wondering right now and redirected at your podcast. Then you come to know, okay, there is a treatment available. So that is why your channel or via your podcast. So thanks to you, Siddharth, for letting us on your podcast and talking to us about this startup. Thank you so much for inviting us and for all this efforts that you are doing in the field of entrepreneurship, as well as continuing with your daily life. I know how much hectic this is, but I wish you a much more success ahead in the coming years.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks a lot, Puneet. Thanks a lot, Jatin. And I really like the way that you have the perspective that you have. Like, you were working 3:30 yesterday. It's a grind, right? For people who want to bring change in the world. I think it's all about not just being complacent and doing everything. And with this podcast as well, I just wanna, bring out the stories of people in India who are doing something impactful. And I'm gonna be your lifelong promoter now, buddy, because I really feel that your company is doing something really impactful and it could change everyone's life. I mean, any patient who did not have a treatment before, now he can, at a very reasonable cost, get treated. So kudos to you guys. And that does it for today's edition of Vyapar. If you want to find more about Puneet, about CureSee, and about, how you can get treated if you are amblyopic, I will keep the links in the description, the website, the Instagram page. You can find everything in the description. Do check out their page. If you feel that you have an eye condition that you're not sure about what you are suffering with, get yourself checked out. If you have amblyopia, we now know that you can get treated at a very reasonable cost. So do that. And also, if you're an entrepreneur who's listening to this and if you want to get covered, you can hit me up and I would love to cover your story. So that does it. Take care and we'll see you next week.